What if everything you thought you knew about Pluto, that distant icy dwarf planet, was a lie? For decades, it's been the lonely frozen outpost of our solar system, shrouded in mystery. But new revelations from the most powerful telescope ever built suggest something far more astonishing is happening out there. Something that could rewrite the very laws of planetary science, and maybe even challenge our understanding of life itself. Get ready, because the truth about Pluto is more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Pluto, the distant, enigmatic outpost of our solar system, has always captivated our imaginations. For years, it remained largely a mystery, eternally frozen and barely touched by the sun's distant rays. Then in 2015, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft embarked on an unprecedented journey, offering humanity its first close-up glimpse of this remote world. The images it sent back were breathtaking, revealing glaciers, towering mountains of water ice, and a shimmering ethereal atmosphere. But amidst the awe, a perplexing anomaly emerged from the data, one that NASA quietly tabled as unsolved. The problem: Pluto's atmosphere was far too cold. Scientific models had predicted a temperature of approximately minus 73 degrees Celsius, but the actual measurements revealed it was over 30 degrees colder. This wasn't a minor discrepancy. It was a cosmic riddle indicating that something, or perhaps someone, was actively cooling Pluto in a way that defied all known scientific explanations. For nearly a decade, this profound mystery lingered unanswered, until now. Thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope, the most powerful cosmic eye humanity has ever deployed, we are finally beginning to unravel Pluto's secrets. And what it's found is far more startling than any scientist dared to predict. Rewinding to 2015, when New Horizons delivered its stunning imagery, scientists had anticipated encountering a barren, lifeless landscape. Instead, they discovered a dynamic world: colossal mountains, sculpted from water ice, and expansive, smooth plains of frozen nitrogen stretching for hundreds of kilometers. Yet, suspended above this extraordinary terrain was something truly unexpected: a delicate bluish haze embracing the planet like a silken veil. This haze, though not particularly dense, extended nearly 300 kilometers into space, an astonishing height for such a small celestial body. It glowed faintly under the sun's distant light, forming intricate, luminous layers. However, the haze's surprising beauty wasn't its most puzzling characteristic. It was its temperature. Pluto's atmosphere was frigid beyond what atmospheric nitrogen and methane alone could explain. For years, scientists relentlessly ran simulations, recalibrated sensors, and meticulously re-examined every piece of data, but the figures simply refused to reconcile. The energy balance was off. Something unseen was siphoning heat from Pluto's skies, and its identity remained elusive. Then in 2017, a breakthrough came from planetary scientist Xi Zhang at the University of California, Santa Cruz. He put forth a revolutionary, and to many initially ludicrous, hypothesis. What if Pluto's haze wasn't merely a passive accumulation of dust and ice? What if it possessed a form of chemical life actively regulating the planet's climate? According to Zhang's theory, tiny solid particles known as tholins drifting in the upper atmosphere could absorb ultraviolet light from the distant sun. Instead of re-emitting this energy as visible light, they would release it as mid-infrared radiation, essentially heat. But here's the twist. Rather than warming Pluto, this process would actually cool it, radiating energy into space far more efficiently than atmospheric gases alone could achieve. In essence, Pluto's haze could be acting as a colossal thermal shield. Initially, many scientists dismissed this notion. The concept of atmospheric particles primarily governing planetary temperatures contradicted established principles of planetary physics. However, Zhang's theory included a bold prediction: if it were true, Pluto's haze would emit a specific mid-infrared glow, a signal so faint that only one instrument currently in existence could detect it: the James Webb Space Telescope's mid-infrared instrument, or MIRI. In May of 2023, that moment finally arrived. An international team spearheaded by Tanguy Bertrand directed the James Webb Telescope towards Pluto and its largest moon, Charon. For the first time in history, Webb's unparalleled precision enabled scientists to differentiate the subtle heat signatures emanating from the two celestial bodies, a feat impossible for any previous telescope. Utilizing MIRI, they systematically scanned Pluto across multiple infrared wavelengths, 15, 18, 21, and 25 microns. The incoming data was astounding. Pluto's infrared glow was significantly more intense than anticipated, far exceeding what could be accounted for by its frozen surface alone. Clearly, something positioned above the surface was radiating additional heat into space. After the team meticulously subtracted Charon's contribution and isolated Pluto's atmospheric signal, the results were unequivocal. The spectral lines precisely matched Zhang's predictions from 6 years prior. The haze wasn't just passively scattering sunlight. It was actively glowing, emitting infrared heat like a cosmic exhalation. NASA had at long last found the missing energy. The haze was not merely a byproduct. It was the fundamental cause of Pluto's mysterious chill. This monumental discovery has reshaped our understanding of planetary dynamics. For decades, planetary scientists believed that atmospheric gases were the primary controllers of climate, from carbon dioxide's warming effect on Venus to methane's influence on Titan. However, on Pluto, it became clear that solid particles, microscopic tar-like compounds called tholins, were the dominant players. These tholins form when ultraviolet light strikes methane, initiating a complex cascade of reactions that produce increasingly complex hydrocarbons. As these particles slowly descend, they accumulate, forming layers of haze that glow in the infrared spectrum, effectively cooling the atmosphere from above. Essentially, the entire dwarf planet operates as a massive chemical engine, with its haze continuously forming, radiating, and collapsing with each orbit. But the astonishing revelations didn't stop there. Webb's data further revealed that methane from Pluto's atmosphere is actually escaping into space and remarkably raining down onto Charon. There, solar radiation transforms it into the reddish organic compounds observed at the moon's poles. In essence, Pluto is literally painting its own moon. Yet this was still not the most shocking aspect of Webb's findings. Its readings hinted at something even more profound, evidence suggesting that haze-driven cooling might not be unique to Pluto. This phenomenon could be occurring throughout our solar system and potentially far beyond. Following the confirmation of Pluto's actively cooling haze, scientists naturally began to investigate other worlds that might exhibit similar strange atmospheric behavior. The first logical candidate was Titan, Saturn's largest moon, a world already renowned for its thick orange haze and methane-rich skies. Webb precisely targeted Titan's limb, and what it observed was eerily familiar. The very same infrared wavelengths detected in Pluto's glow reappeared, though with even greater intensity. Titan, too, appeared to be radiating its energy away in mid-infrared waves, as if its atmosphere were a living entity actively exhaling heat into the cosmos. The spectral pattern was so strikingly similar that researchers began to refer to Titan and Pluto as mirror worlds, both frozen, both enveloped in haze, and both governed by a chemistry that felt less like conventional planetary physics, more organic. Even Triton, Neptune's largest moon, once considered geologically dormant, started to exhibit faint atmospheric heat signatures in Webb's data. This suggested that its own nitrogen-rich haze might operate under the identical principle. The implications were staggering. These distant icy celestial bodies weren't inert, they were active. Their atmospheres were in a sense communicating across the vast, frigid expanse of space, adhering to an invisible code that seemed to govern the interplay of light, heat, and even the potential for life at the farthest reaches of the sun's influence. The compounds responsible for this cosmic cooling, the tholins, proved to be far more intricate than anyone had initially conceived. Under Webb's powerful spectroscopy, their chemical signatures unveiled dozens of complex hydrocarbon chains. Some of these even incorporated nitrogen and oxygen bonds, the very foundational elements found in amino acids. On Earth, analogous reactions occur in our upper atmosphere when sunlight interacts with methane, a process remarkably similar to what may have ignited the first sparks of life billions of years ago. In other words, Pluto's haze wasn't just chilling its skies, it was actively cooking chemistry. Dr. Bertrand himself described it as prebiotic photochemistry on a planetary scale. But the story took an even stranger turn when Webb meticulously analyzed how these complex molecules formed and subsequently transformed it, uncovered a distinct rhythmic cycle. This was a recurring pattern in how tholins absorbed and emitted infrared light. Crucially, the interval between these emissions almost perfectly matched Pluto's 6.4-day rotation period. The implication, the haze, wasn't a chaotic chemical fog. It was responding to the planet's day-night cycle almost as if synchronized to the very pulse of sunlight itself. The traditional boundaries between physics, chemistry, and something profoundly more began to blur. As Webb's voluminous data continued to stream and researchers began to extend their comparisons beyond our solar system. They looked at exoplanetary systems orbiting dim red dwarfs and their several worlds, including K218b and TOI 700d, exhibited faint mid-infrared dips in their spectra strikingly identical to Pluto's spectral haze lines. Initially, this seemed impossible. These exoplanets were considerably larger and warmer than Pluto. Yet their atmospheres behaved in the same peculiar way, glowing faintly, radiating away excess energy, and thereby stabilizing their climates. This newfound atmospheric stability carried a profound implication: habitability. Instead of being chaotic, storm-ravaged worlds, these exoplanets might harbor mild, temperate climates beneath their hazy skies. They would be shielded from harsh stellar radiation by the very same tholin chemistry that cools Pluto. This discovery fundamentally challenged the long-held scientific definition of what constitutes a habitable world. Life might not always require vast oceans or direct sunlight. It could potentially emerge and thrive in the perpetual gloom within a protective, self-regulating haze, a self-sustaining chemical feedback system born in the cold, distant reaches of space. Scientists for the first time began to ponder a radical idea: Pluto might not be an anomaly, a cosmic oddity. It could in fact be a prototype, a blueprint for a widespread form of planetary activity and even life throughout the universe. When these groundbreaking findings eventually reached NASA headquarters, several internal reports were promptly and quietly removed from public access. One particular report, ominously titled "Atmospheric Anomalies Pluto and Triton Comparative Study," contained references to non-thermal infrared emissions inconsistent with radiative equilibrium models. In plain language, Pluto was defying the fundamental rules of physics. The data strongly indicated that the haze was absorbing energy from unidentified sources, not solely from the sun. A subsequent secondary analysis detected faint electromagnetic activity above Pluto's terminator line, the boundary between its day and night sides, pulsing with a rhythm far too regular to be attributed to random natural phenomena. Some scientists speculated it was a type of auroral activity, while others suggested it might be an electrical discharge in the upper atmosphere. However, a single line within that suppressed report stood out chillingly. Haze particles exhibit properties consistent with conductive microstructures. Conductive, as incapable of carrying an electrical current? If this were true, it would imply that Pluto's sky wasn't merely a chemical soup. It was electric, behaving like a planetary circuit, distributing energy through invisible filaments across its entire surface. Suddenly, the central question wasn't just, why is Pluto so cold? It became, what is Pluto doing with all that energy? It's somehow bleeding into space. And it was at this pivotal juncture that the James Webb Telescope detected something on Pluto's night side that changed everything. When the James Webb Space Telescope meticulously aimed its instruments towards Pluto's perpetually dark night side, the world anticipated nothing but profound silence. After all this was considered the farthest, coldest corner of our solar system, a frozen ancient relic bathed in eternal twilight. But what Webb found was anything but silent. It was light, faint, rhythmic, and undeniably structured. Initially, scientists hypothesized that this light was simply reflected sunlight from Pluto's massive companion moon. However, the orbital geometry simply didn't align. The pulses were too regular, too precise. These weren't random flickers of scattered light. They were clearly signals. The mid-infrared instrument recorded a repeating pattern of wavelengths that no known natural source could possibly generate. A slow, deliberate oscillation occurring every 247 seconds. This rhythm was identical to the mysterious cosmic pulse that Webb had detected months earlier in deep space, billions of light years away. That realization struck like a cosmic thunderclap. The same exact frequency previously observed emanating from unimaginable cosmic distances was now originating directly from Pluto's surface. To definitively confirm this extraordinary finding, NASA immediately conducted a spectral decomposition of the emissions. What they uncovered next caused the entire control room to fall into stunned silence. The pattern wasn't continuous, it was encoded. Each pulse contained subtle variations in amplitude that, when plotted, mathematically revealed a profound sequence of ratios: 1.6, 183.14, 2.718. These were the golden ratio, pi, and Euler's number, the fundamental mathematical constants that define the very architecture of the universe itself. This wasn't cosmic noise, it was undeniable intelligence. The team at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center immediately classified the data as top secret. Officially, the emission was discreetly labeled instrumental interference. The report was swiftly buried, heavily redacted, and completely removed from public access. But not before a small, dedicated group of independent researchers had already managed to download the raw signal. When these independent scientists reprocessed the data, something even more astonishing emerged. The pulses were not originating from Pluto's atmosphere as initially suspected, but from deep beneath its icy surface. Webb's spectrometer had detected faint electromagnetic echoes bouncing off what appeared to be a layer of highly reflective material located roughly 12 kilometers below the planet's frozen crust. This wasn't rock, it wasn't water, it was metallic. A colossal, perfectly spherical structure spanning nearly a third of Pluto's entire diameter. For decades, the scientific consensus had been that Pluto was geologically dead, an inert frozen ball. But this discovery shattered that belief, changing everything. Beneath its seemingly lifeless frozen shell, there was undeniable movement. Faint rhythmic tremors perfectly synchronized with the infrared pulses. The signal was not merely random background energy. It was a deliberate transmission repeating the same universal mathematical language used to describe physics, time, and geometry. As one stunned researcher reportedly whispered in disbelief, "It's like the planet is trying to speak." The revelation of this intelligent signal spread quietly through the scientific community, only to be swiftly silenced by official channels. NASA issued a statement publicly attributing the emission to resonant particle scattering. Yet internally, several senior scientists resigned after being coerced into signing non-disclosure agreements regarding the true nature of the data. One of them, whose private notes later anonymously surfaced, left behind a single haunting line that has since achieved legendary status among those who know the truth. Pluto is not what we thought it was. It's something built. Since then, that faint, persistent, pulsing signal continues to echo through the cosmic void, sometimes intensifying, sometimes fading, almost as if it's responding to our very act of observation. Webb's sensitive instruments still detect it on rare occasions, buried deep beneath the cacophony of cosmic noise, patiently waiting to be acknowledged once more. And with every repetition, the same profound mathematical sequence plays out, the silent, universal language woven into the very fabric of reality. The question that now looms before us is no longer what Pluto is, but who or what placed it there. So if this story has ignited a spark of doubt in your mind about what NASA truly understands concerning the outer reaches of our solar system, do not turn away. Subscribe to this channel where we continue to uncover the truths they desperately wish to keep hidden. And remember to turn on notifications, because the next time the James Webb Space Telescope gazes into Pluto's frozen heart, the universe itself might finally offer an answer. If you find this content interesting, please like and leave a comment. This video from Cosmic Warning A to Z, thank you for watching.